Welcome back to Plantiful Bee. Today we're slowing things down and stitching up some joy. I found this brand new single duvet cover in a charity shop and it sparked an idea. 3 simple sewing projects, perfect for beginners and ideal as homemade gifts. Each project takes less than 30 minutes to complete and you can use scraps or repurposed fabric. There's no need for anything fancy. I'll walk you through a makeup brush roll, travel tissue holder and a chapstick holder, all stitched with love and a little imagination. Let's start with the tissue holder. This one's a favourite for kids' backpacks, handbags or coat pockets. I've added a little loop so it can be clipped to a bag. It's a small detail, but it makes all the difference. Firstly, you need 2 squares of fabric, one measuring 5.5 inches high and 6.5 inches wide, and one 5.5 inches high and 7.5 inches wide. This is optional, but if you're using a tab, you'll need another piece of fabric that's 2 inches by 4 inches and a small swivel hook. We'll sew the tab first, and it's easier if you press this in half lengthways and then take the outer edges and fold each one into the centre and then press again. We're going to stitch as close to the edge as possible down both sides, using the edge of the presser foot as a guide. Next up, we're going to sew down each side using a simple straight stitch. You'll notice that the fabric is not the same size on each side, but make sure you match the edges up as this will allow us to create a binding effect. Using a simple straight stitch and using the edge of your presser foot again as a guideline, just sew down the 2 shorter edges that we pinned together. Don't forget to do a couple of back stitches at the start and the end. Once stitched, you need to press this flat and centralise the outer lining fabric. This frames it nicely. Then with the outer fabric on the top, fold inwards and press to create a central crease. Hold this in place with some clips or pins. If using the swivel clip, place the tab through the clip and fold in half. Place it inside the fabric in the centre, using the crease that you made when you pressed. At this point, you can run a couple of stitches over the tab to hold it in place, or just use a clip or pin. Again, using the edge of your presser foot as a guide, sew a simple straight stitch and remember to sew a couple of back stitches at the start and the end. As you pass over the centre, go back a few stitches and then forwards, as this will reinforce that gap. Repeat this on the other end, and again going back over the centre where the tab is a couple of times to reinforce it to make sure it doesn't come off in the future. At this point you can either use pinking shears to neaten the edges or use a zigzag stitch. If using the zigzag stitch, just remember to change your tension and your stitch type. I lined up my stitch line with the centre of the left hand side of the presser foot so that I had a guide. Repeat on the other end and trim any loose threads. Turn it the right way around and poke out the corners for a neater finish. Fill it with tissues, and that's it, all done. Next up is a chapstick holder. Just a few straight seams and a loop for attaching to a backpack or keyring, and these are brilliant stocking fillers. You'll need 2 pieces of fabric, and you can use whatever scraps you have, and a smaller piece of fabric for the tab, as we did with the tissue holder and the swivel hook. We'll sew the tab first, and it's easier if you press this in half lengthways, then take the outer edges and fold each one into the centre and then press again. Next we're going to stitch as close as possible down both sides, using the edge of the presser foot as a guide. Place the right sides together, and if adding the tab, slide the hook onto the tab and place it in the centre at the top. Using the edge of the presser foot as a guide, sew all the way around, leaving a gap. Before turning the right way round, trim off the corners, taking care not to snip your stitches. I use a chopstick to help push out the corners. Next, we're going to top stitch all the way around, creating a pocket. Fold up from the bottom about 2.5 inches, which should be big enough for the chapstick. Then top stitch all the way around as close as possible to the edge. And there we have it, a cute chapstick holder, ready to take up residence on any handbag or backpack. Finally, we have a makeup brush holder, where it can be used for paintbrushes or even pens, you choose. You'll need 2 pieces of fabric, each measuring 14 inches by 11 inches, and some batting, measuring 13 inches by 9.5 inches. You'll also need some ribbon, around 27 inches. I saved this as it was wrapped around some fat quarters, and it's exactly the length that I need. Make a mark approximately 8 inches from one end of the ribbon and fold over. We need to place this in between the 2 pieces of fabric before stitching. Place it around 4.5 inches from the top, or the shorter edge, and pin or clip in place. I haven't shown it here, but make sure all of the ribbon is on the inside before sewing. It may be easier for you to pin the batting to one side of the fabric first, as this will really help when turning it the right way around. But pin all 3 pieces together and sew all the way around, leaving a gap big enough to be able to turn it the right way around. Once sewn, trim all the corners carefully and turn the right way around. Give it a quick press and decide how wide you want your pockets to be. Then, using a heat erasable pen or tailor's chalk, mark your stitch lines. Then it's ready to sew. Once all your pockets have been sewn, remember to sew all the way around the edge as close as possible to give it that professional look. Remember to press it if you've used a heat erasable pen. And there you have it, another beautiful gift. Whether you're new to your sewing machine or just looking for quick, joyful makes, these projects are a gentle way to build your confidence. And with Christmas around the corner, they're a beautiful way to gift something handmade. I'll leave you with a few shots of the finished pieces. If you give these a go, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more sewing, plant-based living and creative inspiration.